Snow has always carried a silence unlike any other. A silence that breathes, that watches, that lingers like something unseen in the endless white. For centuries, those who lived close to the ice have spoken of beings born from that silence, creatures that stalk through blizzards, roam the frozen peaks, and haunt the darkest of winter nights. Tonight, we reveal 10 of them, from giants carved of ice and gods draped in frost, to spirits that kill with a smile. These are the legends of winter, waiting patiently in the snow. Number 10. Yeti. What opens our list today is a legend that haunts the highest peaks of the world. The Yeti. High in the frozen Himalayas, where the air thins and the world is nothing but ice and silence, stories tell of a towering ape-like figure. Covered in thick fur, it leaves footprints the size of a man's chest, vanishing into storms as if the mountain itself had swallowed it. The first Western reports came in 1832 when a British explorer recorded seeing a dark, hairy creature walking upright across the snow. Expeditions followed, bringing back tufts of hair, scraps of bone, and frozen footprints. Scientists tested them, but the results were always inconclusive, each one leaving more questions than answers. For the Sherpas, though, the Yeti is no myth. They tell of it as a guardian of the peaks, a quiet and watchful creature that stays low-key, but punishes those who disrespect the mountain, beast or spirit, real or imagined. Yeti still endures as one of winter's greatest mysteries. Number 9. Frost Giants. Number 9 takes us deep into the frozen heart of Norse mythology. Yes, long before ice was only weather, it was power, and the legend of Jotnar is its living proof. From the very beginning of creation, the first beings born were not men or gods, but giants of frost, the Jotnar. They came from Ginnungagap, the great void of ice and fire, where the primal giant Ymir rose. These frost giants became eternal rivals of the gods, forever clashing with Odin and Thor in battles that shook the 9 realms. Legends say they dwell in Jotunheim, a frozen land of mountains and endless storms. As one Reddit user pointed out, the abilities of any particular Jotun are often unique to the character. Some shapeshift, some are gigantic, one runs fast, another eats endlessly. But whoever they are, with whatever qualities, their fate is written. In the final prophecy of Ragnarok, when the world is swallowed by fire and ice, the frost giants are destined to march against the gods one last time before their death. Number 8. Qirqin. Far out on the Arctic ice, Inuit hunters spoke of a monstrous dog spirit known as the Qirqin. Huge and hairless, with only patches of fur across its body, it prowls the snow in silence. Its very presence is said to drive men into fits, making them collapse, shaking, as if seized by invisible hands. But unlike other monsters, the Qirqin does not always attack. It is a spirit of terror, a shadow that tests those who cross its path. The first recorded mention came from Danish Greenlandic explorer Knud Rasmussen in the early 20th century. He documented Inuit shamans describing the Qirqin as a real danger, a creature whose approach caused uncontrollable shaking, only relieved when it fled. Rasmussen noted that fear of the Qirqin was so widespread that hunters carried charms and amulets to protect themselves. Anthropologists later compared these tales to cultural stories of fierce spirits. But Inuit elders insisted the Qirqin was more than myth. They described its great size, its patchy hair, and the strange convulsions it left behind as proof. Some scholars suggest the legend may come from encounters with diseased sled dogs, and some even called it the effects of hypothermia. But among the Inuit, the Qirqin is remembered as something far greater. Number 7. Mahaha. Imagine an entity that doesn't scratch, bite, or stab. Instead, it tickles you to death, leaving your body frozen in the snow with a twisted smile carved across your face. That's Mahaha. The indigenous people describe it as a pale man who is naked aside from some sort of leg covering. It is rumored to have a sinister laugh, which is where it gets its name. Hearing its laugh means that it has chosen a victim to attack. Hunters and families told stories of it stalking travelers in the night, its laughter echoing through the tundra before striking with fingers as cold as ice. Explorers and ethnographers started recording its tales in the late 19th century, noting how parents warned children never to wander off or the grinning one would find them. Some say the Mahaha's touch causes violent shivering, like a seizure, until the victim collapses lifeless. But there is one flaw to this demon. It is said to be easily tricked. Take it to the edge of a river and make it lean too far. If it tumbles into the water, its laughter fades and the current drags it beneath the ice. Some researchers link the Mahaha to the real horrors of Arctic life, the spasms of hypothermia, the delirium of freezing to death, and the eerie way a smile sometimes lingers on the faces of the frozen. But to the Inuit, it was no metaphor. It was a warning that even laughter in the Arctic night can kill. Number 6. Yuki Onna. Remember Elsa from the movie Frozen? Now imagine her in her darkest form. Not as Queen of Beauty, but a ghost of ice and death. That is the Yuki Onna, the Snow Woman of Japan. Pale as death, draped in white, with hair as black as night, she appears in blizzards and lonely mountain passes. To travelers, she is dazzling, almost divine. But one breath from her lips is enough to freeze a man where he stands. Her legend stretches back centuries, first appearing in tales from Japan's Muromachi period. Is said to be the spirit of a woman who died in the snow, her soul forever bound to the blizzards. She kills travelers out of vengeance and bitterness, punishing the living with the same icy death that claimed her. Number 5. Ijiraq. The fifth creature in this video is also from Inuit mythology, the Ijiraq. Elders describe them as beings caught between two worlds, not fully human, not fully spirit. They are restless wanderers, said to take the form of caribou, seals, birds, or even the faces of people you know. To the traveler, they appear as guides, but those who follow them soon realize the path is wrong. The tracks do not lead to shelter, but deeper into the tundra, where hunger and frost finish the work the Ijiraq began. The Ijiraq are also bound to the Inuksut, the stone cairns scattered across the Arctic. For humans, these markers mean safety, guiding travelers through the snow. But in legend, the Ijiraq slip into them as if they were doorways to another realm. Number 4. Amarok. Have you seen how wolves move in packs, loyal, coordinated, and never hunting alone? The Amarok is nothing like them. In Inuit mythology, the Amarok is a giant wolf that prowls the tundra in solitude. Unlike ordinary wolves, it hunts alone, and those who travel by themselves at night are said to be its prey. Ethnographic records from the 19th century describe how Inuit hunters spoke of the Amarok as a living danger. Large wolf tracks, far bigger than those of any known animal, were sometimes found pressed into the snow. Some researchers believe the legend of the Amarok may connect to real prehistoric animals. Fossil evidence shows that dire wolves and giant canid species once roamed Arctic regions thousands of years ago. According to one Redditor, the Amarok hunts reindeer and is a threat to humans who hunt them too, because it wants the reindeer for itself. Due to its size, it can carry an entire reindeer in its mouth. But do we have proof that the Amarok exists? None that convinces. And still, the thought of a wolf large enough to carry a reindeer in its jaws lingers in the mind. Number 3. Kallikantzaroi, or Kallikantzaroi. At number 3 are the Kallikantzaroi, the winter demons of Greek folklore. Most people imagine goblins as mischievous pranksters, but these goblin-like beings were far darker. Small, twisted, and often described with burning eyes or animal-like features, the Kallikantzaroi were said to crawl out of the underworld during the coldest nights of the year. Legends say that while humans celebrated indoors, the Kallikantzaroi climbed into villages at night, slipping through chimneys or lurking in shadows, bringing chaos wherever they went. Historical accounts describe people leaving fires burning, hanging protective charms, or scattering flour on their doorsteps to keep the goblins away. In some regions, pork bones were burned because the stench was believed to drive them off. Folklorists have traced their story back centuries, linking them to pagan winter festivals. They believe the Kallikantzaroi were once symbols of the dead returning during midwinter, and their mischief was a reminder of how fragile the barrier is between the living and the underworld. So, are these goblins real? Probably not, but for centuries, they were the reason people in Greece waited anxiously for January 6th, the day the demons finally vanished back underground. Number 2. Chione. At number 2 is Chione, the goddess of snow in Greek mythology. Unlike the goblins and demons of winter folklore, Chione was divine. Her name comes from the Greek word chion, meaning snow. She was often described as breathtakingly beautiful, her presence marked by falling snowflakes and freezing winds. But like snow itself, she was both enchanting and dangerous. Chione appears in several ancient sources. In Ovid's Metamorphoses, she is the daughter of Boreas, the north wind, and is seduced by the gods Apollo and Hermes on the very same night. From those encounters, she bore twins, one gifted in music, the other in speed. Was she ever alive? Probably not. But in every snowstorm that blinds and silences the mountains, the presence of Chione is still felt. Deadly, but impossible to ignore. Number 1, Tornits. And finally, at number 1 are the Tornits, the wild giants of Alaska. Stories describe them as huge, hairy beings, stronger than men, but slower and clumsier. They're said to be the first inhabitants of their lands, who were eventually driven away by the Inuit people. Before that, they built their own dwellings, hunted, and even interacted with Inuit communities, trading food, sharing tools, even learning from each other. But this peace never lasted. According to Inuit oral traditions, a feud broke out after a Tornit stole a hunter's kayak. The hunter struck back, killing the Tornit. From that day forward, the giants vanished into the wilderness, retreating into the mountains and frozen lands, never to live openly among people again. 19th century ethnographers recorded versions of this story from Greenland to northern Canada, noting how consistently the Tornit were described: massive, long-armed, and dwelling apart from humankind. For the Inuit, though, the Tornit are more than lost tribes or speculation. They are a reminder of giants still wandering in the ice, watching but unseen, keeping their distance from the world of humans. And that's a wrap on our 10 snow creatures. These were snowy legends born from beauty, but built on danger, of hunger, avalanches, and the merciless cold. These weren't just stories. They were survival warnings carved into the ice. And if you thought the snow wasn't haunting enough, wait until you see what lurks in the forests and the seas.